Hey guys, it's Cowie from 89Sabers. So today I've got a few different Graflexes in front of me. These are the ones that I wanted to go through. One of them is a vintage, so we've got the vintage one here. We've got the 89Sabers Graflex here. We've got two Romans, one set up for ESB, one set up for A New Hope, and we've also got the JQ Graflex. So there are a few replicas out there now that people want to know some of the differences for. I never was on the TGS run, so TGS stands for the Graflex shop. They've also got a Graflex replica, but I never ordered one because by that time when they started shipping I actually had far too many. This is just going to go through briefly some of the differences between them and sort of give you a general summary of the difference between these hilts. I'm going to start from the far left. So we've got the JQ version here. Now the JQ version is a stainless steel version. It's made in collaboration with MakerProp studio, I believe. MakerProp studio is a studio up in the north of England, run by a guy called Matt. Matt makes these hilts himself. He doesn't outsource the manufacturing to anyone, so it feels very high quality. This one features a sort of, maybe like, it's kind of hard to explain. It's not like a chromey colour. It's more of a darker colour because it's made from steel as opposed to brass material for Graflexes. Most of them are made with brass, but this one's been made with stainless steel. This one will also be pre-drilled for grips. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holes on here, so it's for ESB or TFA. The nice thing that I like about this one is because in The Force Awakens they use the cover for the clamp as well, you get that accurate sort of colour. Also the button is not an injection moulded button. If I zoom in here, it's not actually a injection moulded piece or anything like that. Also you'll notice here that it's a sort of brass coloured tube as opposed to the original having a sort of chrome colour. Also you've got at the top an M4 screw, I believe, instead of a rivet. The slide tab won't be attached. You actually get a small bag of accessories. You'll get the sort of slide tab assembly. You'll also get a cobalt clip with it as well. This is made from aluminium. It's not nickel plated brass. Nickel plated brass is what I believe to be the original style of cobalt clip. You also get a insert for the lower half. This insert goes inside and it basically helps fasten the bolts that come with it. And you'll also get a replica glass eye. This isn't an original glass eye, this is indeed a replica one, and I'll show it to you. It's not actually shine through, it is machined, and then it's got a sort of cabochon inside, I think that's what you say, and it's a thumb screw, so it could be used as a blade retention screw as opposed to functional glass eye. You'll notice as well on the bottom on here the Graflex stamp isn't, I don't think it's stamped. It looks to me to be laser etched as opposed to stamped, and it is by default stamped. There is no unstamped version, and it's already vented for sound there. You'll notice as opposed to a vintage Graflex, there's no sort of rolled tubing. It's more of an insert piece into the lower tube as opposed to actually rolled tubing. On to the next one, we've got the two Romans hilts. If you were on the original run, you would obviously already know about these hilts. This one is one that I've configured into ESB. This one, when Romans makes them, they are an actual flash gun replica, so you can use them as a camera flash if you wanted to. You'll notice on this one, on the glass eye, it's actually like a replica glass eye. It's not like the JQ version, JQ MakerProp version. You'll see that is an actual glass eye there. It's got the spring mount and everything on it. So you've got an injection molded version on there. It will come with an original bulb socket. I've just got one of my blade holders in there at the moment. You'll notice there's quite a clear difference between the colour of the actual clamp and the body. If you can see there's a bit of a contrast between them. Also when I received the hilts, the bottoms of them were extremely shiny as opposed to a brushed finish. But I did take some Scotch-Brite pad and put that on there. I used the conversion kit to change it to ESP version, but the ESP version doesn't have silver traces, but these came with silver traced clamp cards. The grips are injection molded. I chose to secure mine with rivets. This is A New Hope version of the Romans replica. A few other tips about the Romans: you'll notice that the ears are actually longer than a vintage. The placement of the holes on the upper shell is not the same as a vintage, it's just slightly off by a few degrees. So if you are looking at getting a blade holder, make sure you get a Romans compatible blade holder as opposed to a vintage holder, because if you get a vintage holder, you'll probably see that the holder passes the holes on the outer shell here. Not much else to say about this one. Finally, I've got the 89Sabers Graflex sample. Out of the Romans and the JQ is my favourite. Just there's some details there that I can appreciate. For example, the edges here are polished and smoothed out. On the Romans version, it's not polished and smoothed out. You can see sort of machining marks on there. Also, it's built for install, so you see this is spring loaded already. And actually there's a momentary switch in there. The button is injection molded as well. It does have long ears at this time, the same as the Romans version. After speaking with Peter, he did mention he's going to be doing accurate ears, and it does have the rivet style fastener. The Romans doesn't have that either. It is a 440 screw. So you'll see on the Romans, it is a 440 screw on there, as opposed to an actual rivet. It comes with a blade holder, the 89Sabers version, so you will get a blade holder with it. And you can see just there's the line that's machined into it to give the impression of two pieces, but it's not actually two pieces. You've got your glass eye replica, same as the Romans, the accurate screw. You've got a nice clamp. Overall, you can see the finish is quite consistent. He also sells two bottoms. He's got one which is sort of stamped, but there's no sound venting or anything. So you can see there, no sound vents on that, but nice quality stamping. And you've got the rolled tubing, which is also very important. Overall, really happy with what these look like. Plenty of space inside them. It's got a threaded section on the lower half, so the holder isn't like a normal bulb holder. It's not an actual flash gun replica. So if you're looking for a flash gun replica, go for the Romans. This version does have vented cap as well. So if you did want to have sound, Peter will offer the option to have sound vents if you wanted those. So he will sell lower halves for that. And with Peter's, you do get accessories. You've got injection molded grips and D-rings if you want a New Hope. He's also sent me some of the notch grips with the fasteners, and also various clamp cards and a cobalt ring. You'll notice that the clamp cards on here are more accurate than the other version on the Romans. You see it has the gold traces as opposed to the other ones. Remember, if you do want different clamp cards, Sloth Furnace at slothfurnace.com offers a whole range of accurate clamp cards. They're the highest quality ones that I've seen so far. These are the grips, so they're hard plastic. So this is what the ones on the sample. I think the final versions will be a bit different. Still very nice. He also included brass medallion of some sort with the stamp on it. It's pretty cool. You've got the brand new 89Sabers on this hand, and I've got a vintage Graflex here. So you can see finish is pretty similar. Over time it will be similar, but obviously you can't ever match up to an actual vintage because you can't replicate all that time that they've spent in storage and stuff like that. If you look at them both, they do look pretty nice. So that's those two there. So that's why I wanted to highlight on the 89Sabers version, just to show you the sort of similarities in material finish, and then I'll do a sort of full shot view so that you can see. So just to confirm again, we've got the JQ MakerProp, we've got the 89Sabers, original vintage Graflex, Romans ESB TFA setup, and Romans A New Hope. So overall, my favourite out of the replicas is the 89Sabers version, simply because I convert lightsabers, and this one is sort of covering a lot for you. You know, it's got the blade holder already in there, it's got the switch mechanism, aux and activation switch. There is an activation switch inside this button, so you just solder to it. And then the next one that I prefer is the JQ MakerProp stainless steel version, just because I'm a sucker for high quality things, and this is really, really high quality. It really does exceed all expectations when you receive it. Obviously, if you're a Graflex nut and you want the most accurate thing that you can get, then the stainless steel version won't be for you because it's made from the wrong material. But if you're looking for a really high quality Graflex, one that's got a lot of dedication and attention paid to it, this is definitely a good one to get. And also, it's made in England as well. All of these, apart from the vintage, are made overseas in Asia. Not saying there's nothing wrong with things being made in Asia whatsoever. I have lots of stuff made there as well. So yeah, the two Romans come next for me. I would like to try a TGS version to see what that's like, but due to the inconsistencies of the plating on the clamp and the upper body, and a few other plating issues, the long ears as well, and some fitment issues with the alignment, they come last for me. It's just my opinion. I'm not hating on Romans or anything, just as a comparison. I hope that this sort of gives you a rough idea as to some of the differences out there. They all look great. They're all great for cosplay. Depending on your budget, that's all that matters really, how much you can afford, because these are a different price, these are a different price, these are a different price, and you've got vintages which they're always fluctuating from whether it's $600 to $1,000, whatever it may be. So totally up to you what you're looking to go for, but hopefully this gives an indication of what to expect when you're looking for your replica Graflex, or even a vintage one if you're after a vintage one. Thanks very much for watching. I hope this helps, and I'll catch you on the next video.